Have you ever met someone who seems different? Not because they talk louder or act smarter, but because there's something about them, an inner calm, a quiet depth. It's like they're living life from a higher place, while most people are still tangled in noise, fear, and confusion. Carl Jung believed that this difference isn't random. It's the result of something extraordinary, the evolution of consciousness. He said our mind doesn't stay still, it grows through levels, almost like climbing a hidden staircase within the soul. Each step takes us closer to peace, purpose, and truth. But the climb isn't easy. Most people spend their whole lives stuck on the first few steps, ruled by habits, emotions, or ego, never realizing there's a deeper level waiting. So today, we'll explore the 7 levels of consciousness that Jung believed shape our entire psychological and spiritual journey, from our most instinctive impulses to the divine awareness of the self. And here's the question I want you to hold till the very end. Where are you on this ladder of awakening? Stay with me to the last level, because the final one might change how you see yourself forever. And if you love understanding the hidden layers of your mind, go ahead and subscribe, because we go deep here, beyond ordinary psychology, into the soul of human experience that we begin at the very bottom, the most primal level of consciousness, what Jung called the instinctual mind. Here, we're not really thinking. We're surviving. This is the part of us that reacts before it reflects. It's the voice that says run, fight, hide, or take. It's ruled by fear, hunger, and desire. Life feels like a battlefield of needs: food, safety, dominance, belonging. People at this level see the world in black and white. You're either a friend or a threat, comfort or danger, winner or loser. There's no gray area here, only raw emotion and instinct. Jung described this as the primitive unconscious, the foundation of the psyche that connects us to our animal nature. It's not evil, it's ancient. It's the part of you that made sure your ancestors survived. But when this level dominates, life becomes a loop of reaction. You chase pleasure, avoid pain, and mistake instinct for truth. You may even feel alive, but never truly aware. Here, the shadow, the hidden side of your personality, runs the show. You're not aware of your anger, jealousy, or fear, but they drive your choices anyway. This level is necessary, gives us survival, but it's also limiting. If you stay here too long, everything feels like a fight to control or protect. To evolve, you must take your first conscious step upward, to recognize your emotions, rather than being ruled by them. And that's where the second level begins. Keep watching, because as we move upward, you'll start to see yourself in ways you never imagined. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on the bell, because the higher we climb, the clearer the truth becomes. Now that we've moved beyond pure survival, something new awakens within us: emotion. For the first time, we start feeling instead of just reacting. But with that awakening comes confusion, heartbreak, and the beginning of what Jung called the personal unconscious. At this level, the world becomes deeply personal. We don't just experience things, we attach to them. We crave love, fear rejection, and start to build stories about who we are. I am lovable. I am not enough. I am hurt. I am special. Sound familiar? This is where most of humanity spends its emotional life, trapped between what we want and what we fear losing. Everything becomes a mirror. People reflect our wounds. Relationships echo our past. And love becomes both our medicine and our poison. Carl Jung believed this stage is crucial. It's where the unconscious begins to whisper. Those emotional storms you feel, they're not random. They're signals from deeper parts of you, trying to surface, to be understood. But here's the tricky part. Most people don't listen. They drown in their emotions instead of decoding them. They confuse feeling something with being something. They don't just feel sadness. They become sadness. They don't just experience anger. They live inside it. Real growth begins when you start observing your emotions instead of obeying them. When you say, I feel anger, instead of I am angry. That tiny shift, one word, marks the difference between being lost in emotion and being conscious of it. And if you've ever wondered why your relationships repeat the same painful patterns, keep watching. Because the next level reveals why your mind keeps recreating the same emotional story over and over again, and how to finally break it. If this already feels like it's speaking to your soul, hit subscribe and stay with me to the end, because every level we climb takes us closer to peace, freedom, and the truth of who you really are. As we climb higher, something powerful awakens, the rational mind. For the first time, we begin to think beyond emotion. We plan, analyze, build, and control. This is where the ego, the I we believe ourselves to be, takes center stage. We start to feel proud of our logic, our ability to organize chaos. We create systems, jobs, families, and societies. We measure everything, success, intelligence, even love, through reason and results. And for a while it feels amazing, we finally feel in charge. But Jung warned, this is a dangerous illusion, because the ego, once awakened, loves power. It starts believing it's the whole of who we are. It forgets the instincts below and denies the intuition above. It says, I think, therefore I am, and builds walls around that idea. At this level, people become identified with their roles. I'm a doctor. I'm a parent. I'm successful. I'm respected. Their sense of self becomes tightly woven into what they do, not who they are. And when those roles disappear, through failure, loss, or change, they crumble. The rational mind builds civilization. Yes, but it also builds isolation. Because when everything is measured by reason, mystery dies. Intuition feels silly. Emotions feel weak. And the soul feels forgotten. This is why so many people, even with wealth and recognition, feel strangely empty. The ego has achieved everything, but the self still waits, unheard. The task here, Jung said, is humility, to realize that intellect is not the final truth. It's a tool, not a master. When you begin to see that your thoughts are not you, you take your first real step toward freedom. And that's where the next level begins, where reason meets mystery, and the real inner transformation starts. So keep watching till the end, because from this point onward, we step beyond the thinking mind and into the deeper world Jung called individuation. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because this journey is just beginning, and the next level may be the one your soul has been waiting for. This is the turning point, the moment your inner world starts to awaken. You've lived long enough to see that logic alone can't save you, that success doesn't always mean peace, and that the battles you fight outside are really reflections of the ones within. Welcome to the integrative mind, the level where you begin to meet yourself honestly for the first time. Here, consciousness becomes brave enough to face its own contradictions, the light and the dark, the saint and the shadow, the truth and the lie. Carl Jung called this sacred work the individuation process, the lifelong attempt to unite the conscious and the unconscious to become whole. At this stage, you start asking the real questions. Why do I repeat the same mistakes? Why do certain people trigger me? What am I still running from? Therapy, journaling, dreams, and even art start revealing clues from the unconscious. You might notice synchronicities, those strange coincidences that seem to guide you. It's as if life itself is whispering, pay attention. There's meaning here. But don't be fooled. This is not a comfortable level. It's raw. It's messy. You begin to see parts of yourself you've denied for years. The jealousy, the fear, the false pride. You realize how much of your personality was just protection. Yet this pain is sacred. It's the breaking of illusions. It's the moment when the masks fall and your soul finally starts breathing. In this stage, something beautiful happens. Your inner and outer worlds begin to merge. Your art becomes healing. Your spirituality becomes personal. You stop running from who you are and start integrating all of it, the dark and the divine. This is the beginning of real freedom, the kind that doesn't depend on perfection, but on honesty. Keep watching, because the next level, the transcendent mind, is where everything changes. It's the bridge between the human and the divine, the place where intuition begins to lead instead of ego. And if this resonates with you so far, don't forget to subscribe and stay to the end, because we're about to enter the most mystical part of Jung's map of consciousness. Something magical happens when you move beyond the noise of the ego. Life starts to feel guided. You begin to sense that there's a deeper intelligence at work, something larger than your plans or your fears. It's as if the universe itself starts whispering to you through symbols, dreams, and coincidences that are far too precise to be random. Welcome to the transcendent mind. Here, no longer see yourself as a separate being struggling to survive. Instead, you begin to feel connected to life, to others, to something timeless. Carl Jung called this mysterious realm the collective unconscious, a vast ocean of shared wisdom where every soul, every story, every symbol lives. At this level, intuition becomes your compass. Logic still matters, but it's no longer the only voice. You begin to feel truth rather than chase it. You trust the flow of life. And strangely enough, the more you trust, the more aligned things seem to become. You may start noticing synchronicities, those perfect moments of meaning that make you stop and smile. A dream offers you a message. A book appears at the right time. A stranger says exactly what you needed to hear. You realize these are not coincidences. They are conversations with the universe. Jung believed that at this stage, your consciousness starts touching universal truth. You begin to see repeating patterns in human stories, ancient myths, and your own journey. Everything connects. Everything teaches. Everything reveals. This level brings a deep calm, a peace that doesn't depend on control. Because you no longer need to force life. You flow with it. The me begins to soften into we. The ego starts to dissolve into awareness itself. Keep watching. Because in the next level, the walls between self and existence completely disappear. It's the most profound stage Jung hinted at, the awakening of the cosmic mind, where you begin to live not as a seeker, but as part of the very consciousness you were searching for. And if this message stirs something inside you, hit subscribe, stay with me, and let's keep climbing. Because the next level might just shift the way you see reality forever. When you reach this level, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop feeling separate from life. The walls between you and the world grow thin, until one day, they disappear completely. You look at the sky, the ocean, the trees, even the people who once hurt you, and you feel an almost indescribable truth. It's all connected. Welcome to the cosmic mind. Here, consciousness no longer sees me and them. It recognizes a single living thread weaving through everything, self, nature, and the divine. The ego, which once shouted so loudly, now becomes quiet, almost transparent. You still have a name, a job, a body, but they feel like gentle costumes worn by something eternal. Carl Jung described this as the realization of the self with a capital S, the total psyche in perfect harmony. It's not a fantasy of bliss. It's a calm awareness that embraces everything, even pain. At this level, you no longer resist what hurts. You understand it as part of the whole. Suffering becomes sacred because it teaches, transforms, and reconnects you with compassion. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this showing me? This is the level of deep wisdom and surrender. You no longer need to control life. You let it unfold. You don't chase happiness. You embody peace, even when storms rise. Many mystics, poets, and awakened souls have lived here. They spoke in paradoxes because truth at this level dissolves dualities, light and dark, right and wrong, self and other. Everything simply is. This isn't about perfection, it's about balance. It's living as a whole human being, aware of both heaven and earth within you. And if you've made it this far, stay with me, because the next level goes even deeper. It's where all separation dissolves completely, and consciousness returns to its purest form, the universal self. So don't go anywhere. Hit subscribe if you haven't already and keep watching, because what comes next might just redefine what it means to exist. We've reached the final and most mysterious level, the point where words begin to fail, because what awakens here can't truly be described. It can only be experienced. This is the realm of the universal self. Here, individuality fades like a wave returning to the ocean. You no longer see yourself as separate from existence. You are existence. The observer and the observed merge into one, and all boundaries between self, others, time, and space dissolve into a vast, luminous stillness. Carl Jung hinted at this state when he spoke of the numinous experience, that awe-filled moment when consciousness touches the divine directly. It's not a belief or a theory. It's a living truth, felt deep in your being. At this level, there is no longer a journeyer. The seeker disappears, and only pure awareness remains. Consciousness itself, awake. You move through the world not as someone trying to find love or meaning, but as a vessel through which love and meaning flow effortlessly. Those who reach this state often describe it as both infinite and intimate. Every breath, every sound, every face becomes sacred. You realize there was never a path, only awakening to what has always been. Jung believed this is what mystics and sages throughout history called enlightenment. The realization that everything, every thought, every atom is part of one living whole. And the miracle? You're not escaping life here. You're finally fully in it. You act, but without attachment. You love, but without fear. You live, but with complete presence. The circle of consciousness closes. The human returns to the source. And if you've stayed with me all the way to this final level, you're not just watching. You're awakening. Something in you has already begun to remember this truth. So stay curious. Keep seeking. And if this journey through Jung's 7 levels of consciousness touched something inside you, subscribe, share this with someone who's searching, and join me again, because this is not the end. It's the beginning of living as the consciousness you were always meant to be. As we reach the end of this journey through Jung's 7 levels of consciousness, take a moment, breathe, and let all of this sink in. Because these levels aren't ladders you climb once and leave behind. They're states, fluid, shifting, alive. We all move up and down between them throughout our lives. Some days, you might feel awakened and calm. Other days, you might find yourself back in fear, confusion, or ego. And that's okay. Growth isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Every time you fall higher, with more awareness than before. The real question is, where are you living from right now? Are you still caught in survival and control? Are you ruled by emotion or hiding behind logic? Or are you beginning to integrate, to see your shadow, to listen to your intuition, to live more consciously? Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That one sentence holds the key to everything we've explored. Because awakening isn't about escaping the human experience. It's about becoming fully alive within it. It's about looking into your own darkness without fear, embracing your light without arrogance, and realizing that both belong to you. So as you go back into your world, your relationships, your routines, your quiet moments, try to notice from which level you're living. Every reaction, every emotion, every choice is an invitation to awaken a little more. And if this journey spoke to something inside you, don't let it end here. Subscribe, stay connected, and keep walking this path of inner discovery with me. Because every time you return to yourself, every time you bring awareness to the unconscious, you take one step closer to the ultimate truth. You were never just a person searching for meaning. You were consciousness itself, learning how to remember,